Hello world, I'm Paul from Slow Dragon Music and you are watching SDM TV. Hi there and welcome back to SDM TV, where we're going to be talking to musicians and some music industry personnel about some of the things which affect us in the industry. Today we are joined by Ollie Bowker from A Ritual Spirit from Scotland's capital of Edinburgh. Jim Beerman, DJ extraordinaire from Total Rock, Top Rock and Switch Radio. And I thought from Stockholm, but apparently from France, Goth from Mörk Gryning. Now, how close was I to getting that pronounced correctly?
You're pretty close. You're pretty close. And I mean, just so you know, I am from Stockholm.
Yeah, I just didn't realise you'd moved house.
Yeah.
So how are you all doing today?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. The main focus for today's conversation was the use or the current place of radio in the promotion of metal bands, basically. Is it as viable as it used to be, or possibly even more so now? Starting off, the first thing I wanted to talk to was actually to you, Goth, about Mörk Gryning's recent 2-hour radio show guest spot on Gimme Metal. I was just wondering if you could tell us a bit about that experience.
Well, I got the offer to make a 2-hour show and just pick the songs and record some audio. Like, it was the time when I was traveling to Sweden for Christmas via Berlin. So actually, I recorded it in the forest outside of Berlin, just walking around, and it was cool because I had to go through all these things I was listening to when I was 12, 13 years old, and I mean, a lot of the songs I hadn't listened to in like 20 years, and it was really cool to kind of review them. So I recorded that, and then the show was on, and then me and Drakimera from Mörk Gryning also, he was chatting in the chat as well. So it was a fun thing.
So
but a little bit, it's not what you're used to do. We haven't done so much on radio before.
You've not done much radio before. So
I mean, back in the days, there was not so much radio going on. It was, I think, 2 or 3 interviews, but mostly it was just fan signs back then.
Yeah, because you were actually away for quite a while, were you not? As a band. So you come back, and I mean, obviously, a lot has changed. You say you weren't on radio much back then, but a lot has changed in the way that radio shows are done now. Are you a fan of the new formats, the way that things have developed, and getting a band on the radio?
I think it's great. I think it's good to use the internet in that way, and I don't know, be creative with it. Everything was so different back then, and everything was done by fanzines, and everything went so much slower, and you didn't know really what these people were, and you were tape trading with people from the other side of the world, and now everything is so fast. But anyway, essentially, I think it's cool. I think whatever with YouTube and with the videos, I mean, I could sit hours just checking on YouTube videos and checking all these, old fucking clips from Headbangers Ball or things that you never could see back then, but now they're all there. So essentially, I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed when I was reading up on what you actually were doing with that. You had a chat thing that the band was involved in while the show was going. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And then
it's got a bit funny.
We're chatting live, which was a bit weird. I don't know. I think it's better to do live, everything.
You prefer if it was live, did you say?
Yeah, sorry, connection was bad. Yeah, I prefer to do it live. It's a bit weird to kind of, record something during the day and then you're sitting in the evening chatting with people, drinking wine.
So you weren't actually there as it was happening.
So yeah, if it's a radio show, I was there chatting live as it was happening.
Yeah, but not the show wasn't running live. You were chatting after it on a pre-recorded show.
Exactly.
But it still lets you have a new way of connecting with people, I think.
Definitely.
I do love the chat rooms that you get on digital radio stations. They definitely improve the thing for me. I mean, it sounds like, yeah, you're a fan of most of these new things, but do you find there was any negatives?
Not really. To be honest, for me, I'm already quite new to this because I've been out of the scene for such a long time, and till now, the 99% of all the promotion we've done has been still with magazines, either online, either just writing or phone interviews. So, like, I don't know. I don't feel I have enough experience at the moment to say what's good and what's bad, and I don't know how much people, like how many internet radio stations there are out there, and how many people are hooked up with them. But to be honest, all I can say now, I think it's fun and it's a good way. And like you say, it's a good way for people to connect with each other, for the fans to hear the bands directly. And, back in the days, it was the mystery of everything, which was cool. But, we're not back then today. So you just have to work with what you got. And so I think it's great in every sense.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I hear you. Well, how about we move on to somebody with lots of experience, Mr. Beerman. You've been on the forefront of pushing heavy music via the radio since, pretty much as long as I can remember, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So you must have seen some of these changes evolve and come about.
That's it, yeah. Goth mentioned it was very different back in the day. When I started in radio and doing internet radio, there weren't very many platforms for bands to get on. But these days, it's everywhere. And that makes, in my opinion, radio so much more important at the moment, because there are so many platforms that bands can get on and get in contact with the fans, rather than just have a Spotify list, and everyone's got everything digitally now. To be on the radio, it is important for bands. It's brilliant that bands are going on doing kind of like takeovers to, play their music, play some of their favourites. It is that contact with fans that bands do need, and radio is a perfect platform for that. Back when I started, there was probably a handful that you could count on one hand, the amount of, radio stations out there. So I started my own, and Top Rock has been going since, I think it was 2007, 2008. I also do Total Rock, which is a different show entirely. And then I have Switch as well, which is FM and DAB. Mm-hmm. So I get the experience across the board, but the fundamentals is it's really important for bands. And it doesn't cost bands money. Bands can get hold of radio stations. They can drop by the chat room, request their songs if it comes to it, and get feedback and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to access an audience or cross-section of an audience without having to shell out for it is actually a really important thing now, because everything's getting so much more expensive. And, for British bands hoping to
there's
get
so
across...
many radio stations. There's thousands of stations out there. Bands don't have to pay PR to get their music to them. There's usually a contact link, and you can, send an email. How do I get some music to you? It's in the playlist. It's in rotation, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a penny, for bands. And spend a day each week. Just, let's have a troll through, see what other radio stations are out there. Just go on Facebook. How many radio DJs have I got here? And I bet you get dozens just put their hands up saying, yes, send me the new single, send me the new album.
Absolutely, 100%. And it doesn't cost them anything to get in that chat room either. I know I keep banging on about that, but I just have always found that an excellent way to connect, not just with if I had a song playing of my own band, but just to connect with people, make friends, or...
The chat room's brilliant.
Find bands. It's great fun. It's a great way to connect. And it's an interesting sort of crossover between radio and social media to me. I think it's a really cool thing to be able to do on the radio. But the next question for you was, have you been thinking about anything else, something new that you would like to do with bands via your radio work, which you think would be a big help for them?
It's really weird because during lockdown, I've actually looked, we've gone a little bit more 21st century, and the radio shows, the live shows that I do, and now I stream them on Twitch as well. So you've got the normal radio, and then you've got the Twitch, which has got the visual, it's got the video. That's why I've got the setup with the camera up here. You've got everything going on the Twitch side as well, which also incorporates chat. You can have polls in there. And moving forward, that allows to bring a more visual aspect from bands coming in. You can put them on the Twitch alongside you, discussing, co-hosting shows. There's limits are endless. There's so much you can do. And I never thought, somebody had said to me a year ago, never mind 10 years ago, oh, you're going to be doing this, but you're going to be doing it on video and you've got all this extra interaction and everything else. Oh, I would have left. It's radio. It's just audio, but it's not now. There's so much more that you can bring listeners in, and once again, bring the musicians in, you could even have a band.
So I had a bit of a moment. You said you could even have a band, and then the whole thing froze for me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we could have bands and joining us on the Twitch, and being part of the show, not only audibly but visually as well. A little bit like the setup we've got here, but it's going live.
Absolutely,
and it's quite amazing. Still not moving.
No, it's kind of froze again. We had a problem with this before, and I've bought a massive cable to run straight into the hub to try and circumvent this, but I think there might be something else going on. Anyway, I totally get what you were saying. I'd like to move around to Ollie, though, because I believe you have been pursuing radio promotion independently on behalf of A Ritual Spirit, and I've been told that you've had a little bit of...
Bit of what?
A little bit of something.
A little bit of fun with the internet. A little bit of success over in the States. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. We're 3 weeks into a 4-week campaign at the moment. As of yesterday, we've been played in 21 countries around the world. About 250 plays, something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's something else, man. That's a good few people to connect with. Do you actually get in on, I keep banging on about these chat rooms, but like maximising the connection with the listeners, do you get in on chat rooms on all of these as well?
Well, yes, but it's difficult. So yesterday we were on 19 different stations across the world. So you can't get in on all of them. You can't sit there for 19 hours. Some shows are 2 hours, So yes, I do try and get in there, interact, do my bit. But it's impossible to do it for every station, every show.
I find it's a really useful tool, in case you hadn't guessed. But to widen that out a little bit more, did you find that throughout this campaign that you've noticed sort of peripheral benefits rather than just the immediate one of being played in front of new audiences? Have you found that it's pulled in more just through taking part in that as a promotional activity?
Definitely. Likes are going up on social media, interactions are, we've got more views on our videos. I'm getting more personal friend requests on Facebook, everything's social media wise, everything's going in the right direction. I've had bands asking me, or saying to me, look, we're paying for plugin, we're paying for PR, and you're getting more plays than we are for free. So I've got people coming to me asking advice as well, which is fantastic, and obviously I'll give it to them.
It doesn't cost you anything to be helpful, does it?
Of course not.
And you might even make your new best friend.
Well, this is it. I'm all about bands supporting bands. Well, not just bands, the whole industry supporting the whole industry. But if a band's asking me for advice, of course I'll give it to them. And who knows what's going to come from that? They might say, you know what, we've got a tour in a couple of months. Do you want to come and support us? Or whichever way around. It all works together. Like if you're helping someone else out, they can help you out down the line.
Anyway, we were talking about Ollie's experience, and I think in general we can pretty much say that there is definitely still a major place for particularly internet radio for the purpose of promoting smaller bands online. But I was wondering, as a more open question, how much do each of you think that artists should be focusing on it?
I'm going to jump in on this. Here's the thing. As a radio presenter, my main concern is for the people listening. You know what I mean? It's always nice if a band says, "Oh, thanks for the play," or drops by in the chat room. But I'm playing the music, I'm playing out those bands for the people listening and tuning in. And they're the number one priority for me. So I think as long as bands are getting music out to radio, which is massively important, there's no obligation to do anything else. As long as it's nice that if you've got me on a mailing list, send me some updates because I can talk about them on air.
Just deliver the goods.
That's it. But I've never expected anything of a band for radio play. Just get music out to people. And, I can only do what I do with the music from the bands and the artists, the labels, the PR. I can only do that with the music. I don't need anything else. I've got everything that I need. If I've got the music to play, it's nice if you drop by. It's nice if you tag them on Facebook and they give you a like and say thanks. It's not necessary because I'm there for the people listening. Those are my main concern. If they're enjoying the music that I play, I'm doing my job.
That makes sense to me. So we are pushing on for time for the actual recorded part of this. But before we go, I'd just like to ask each of you, if you have something that you would like to say, this is what's coming next for your projects, what you've got coming up, new plans, old plans that are coming to fruition eventually, anything that you want to say before we close?
We're currently writing our second album, so we currently have an album and an EP out, and we're halfway through writing our second album. So we'd like to think we'll record that and release that this year. It's obviously difficult with the current situation. I imagine we'll at least record it this year, whether it is early next year till it's released. But that's our plans. And then as soon as we can, get out on the road again.
I think that's the same for a lot of people trying to get out on the road. What about yourself, Goth? Is there developments for Mörk Gryning?
Well, I mean, we obviously had so many gigs that was cancelled last year that was forwarded to this year, but now they are getting cancelled also. We had a US tour, which is not officially cancelled yet, but most likely will be in April. So hopefully that one will happen in the autumn instead. So like for us, it's a bit of we really want to go out and tour with this album first before we get back to writing new material. It's for us kind of a thing of we really want to make a new album, but the time to write the music has to be right. And before we do that, we want to get out there and play these songs that we have already from this album.
Give it a live test.
That says it's a bit Sorry, what? Yeah, give it the live test. And so therefore we can't just sit at home and make songs now because you know, once we get out there and we play, we might feel like, no, fuck, we don't want to do anything like that. We want to do like this. So yeah, we're just waiting for the green light so we can do the shows. And so we are planning and we're talking with bookers, but you know, for everyone, it's difficult to get any clear responses. That's just how it is.
Yeah, definitely. And yourself, Jim? Anything on the cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, just support internet radio, local radio. If you look for DJ Beerman, you'll find out about my shows. But support it. Support the bands, because you never know who you're going to hear, and it might be your new favourites. And you heard it on radio.
Well, once more, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to Ollie Bowker, Goth Gorgon, and Jim Beerman. I'll catch you all next time.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having us.
That's it, folks. End of episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to our channels. And most importantly, check out some links to some awesome stuff from the bands down below.